Do you get anyone calling you professor? Because this guy's calling you professor.
No, I haven't had anyone to call me that. I've been called some pretty bad names, but never professor.
So Broderick says, Professor, what do you think of niacin for heart health and lowering cholesterol?
You know, niacin is an interesting compound because they were using niacin to raise HDL cholesterol, believe it or not. A lot of people don't realize it's very hard to find something that raises HDLs, which are the good cholesterol carriers that kind of scoop up all the garbage in the blood vessels. They found that exercise increases it a little bit. Like a glass of wine, they found that moderate alcohol can increase it a little bit. But niacin was something that they did show was the only supplement that really increased HDLs. I'm not talking about lowering LDLs. I'm talking about raising HDLs. The problem they said with some niacin was that, well, they said that in high dose niacin, they thought maybe might cause some liver problems. I don't know if that ever proved it. I think that was a BS story, to be honest with you, because I think the government doesn't want people using like supplements to improve their health. They'd rather them use prescription drugs like statins. I don't think there's any necessary thing, any bad. I don't like that niacin rush feeling. A lot of people say, well, you can take the non-flushing niacin, but I don't think it's as potent as, I don't think it actually helps HDL cholesterol if you use the non-flushing one. So have I seen people use it and successfully raise HDLs? Not significantly. So I don't necessarily know if it's something that is even warranted taking, other than what's in your multivitamin. Like we have niacin in our V-mineralized formula. So I don't usually tell people to just supplement extra. But if you have really low HDLs and you have really high LDLs, it might not hurt to try to see if you can raise them, especially if you're on anabolics.
Again, from our Instagram feed, we go to our good friend, The Real Coach Powers, Alone Powers. What up? What is the adequate, and I guess that could be in a broad sense, adequate cycle for ANAVAR for a healthy, physically fit man over the age of 40?
I hate to say this, so no one wants to hear it. I think ANAVAR is like one of the worst drugs for men, really. It's just weak. You know, if you take it alone, you're probably not going to notice very much of anything, you know. As a matter of fact, I always worry about taking a really purely anabolic compound in the absence of taking testosterone with it, because I think sometimes, you know, my belief is that there's a certain amount of androgen in your body. In other words, androgenic hormones that cause sex drive and all those aggressive, you know, tendencies that we attribute to androgenic steroids like testosterone and anadrol and dianabol and trenbolone. These are all highly androgenic compounds. They don't just build, anabolic builds muscle, androgenic, glycogen storing, aggression, strength, stuff like that. And, you know, I just think that if you take too much anabolic, like meaning a compound like ANAVAR that has low androgenic content to it, you can actually water down the amount of androgenic hormones in your body. And I found personally when I would take like Primobolan cycles, like Primobolan Winstrol without testosterone, I looked hard and everything like that, but I kind of lost my sex drive a little bit. I just didn't feel as aggressive on the stuff. And I attributed that to me taking too little androgen and having too much anabolic in the system. And for a man, that could be a problem. For women, obviously, that's not a problem. Women take ANAVAR and they get horny on it, and because it's a male hormone. Even though it's very low in androgens, it's still raising their levels of something they don't have a lot of. So I always recommend that women use ANAVAR and save it for them. I just don't see any benefit. Now, I know some men that will take ANAVAR on top of a testosterone and equipoise and Masteron cycle, but at that point, it's kind of like throwing sand on the beach. I don't think it's really doing that much more. Some powerlifters like it because it does increase strength and it doesn't make you hold a lot of water. So if you're trying to make a weight class, I know that a lot of powerlifters will use ANAVAR to do that. But then again, halotestin does the same thing, and halotestin, you know, makes you really aggressive too. So that throws that theory out the window. I just don't think it's a great drug for men, and that's just my opinion. Like I said, and it's expensive. You know, if you get real ANAVAR, like from a hormone replacement clinic or something like that, it's going to set you back a couple, you know, probably $5 a pill, $4 or $5 a pill. That's a lot, you know, per day. I mean, I guess if you don't care and if the money's not an issue and you want to kind of throw it in along with your hormone replacement you're taking, it's not a big deal, but I wouldn't take it alone.